Welcome back to the show, everybody. We have a live fighter on, live interview. It is Wednesday, hump day, March 13th. I know a lot of you probably woke up this morning like me and said, thank God we're moving through the week. I like to announce that on Mondays it's tough, Fridays it's easy, but hump day gets us to the next step and part of the week. But listen, we got a lot to talk about today. We got a live fighter coming on here today. We got NFL trades going on here today. We got a lot of things to get to, some interesting news. We're going to dive into it right now and get right to the point. We have another live interview with Drew Stuve. It's his first time coming on the show. Bareknuckle fighter. They call him the Wild Boy. I'm interested to have him on because we've been talking fighting, Bareknuckle fighters, UFC fighters, because it's interesting. Their backgrounds, their stories are so important in life because you don't know where they come from, different battles and hurdles they face to get to where they are right now. But welcome to the show, the main event today. Drew Stuve, looking forward to having you on today. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, I'm pumped to have you on, and I've been talking about this for days. We've been having fighters on day after day. For me, I find it so interesting, man. I mean, I played football growing up, but I want to know your background, where you come from, where you're fighting out. I watched some clips of you. Where are you based now?
I live in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada.
What's it like?
I grew up in a small town though, like a couple hours west. We call them little redneck towns out here.
I mean, look, Canada, people watching this right now, obviously we have a lot of people from the US, people are calling in, but you're based in Canada. You're a bare knuckle fighter. You're in boxing. Tell us about your story, briefly, getting into fighting out in Canada. How did you find your mark into fighting?
I was always getting in fights growing up. I was always getting in trouble fighting. Like, I wasn't a bad kid, but I just always had a lot of anger. I grew up with a mentally handicapped sister, so I used to get made fun of and bullied a lot for that, and it would always start fights, and that's why I was always fighting.
Really?
And then I moved out of my small town to the city when I was about 18, and I was getting in bar fights and getting in trouble. Just shit I always did in my small town. And then I don't know, I just decided I needed to go get my act together. So I went and joined a boxing club and kind of learned to control my emotions and taught myself some discipline, you know?
So let me rewind for a second because people have interesting stories. Tell us about, so your family, you said you have a handicapped sister, correct? Yeah, you grew up and you're saying that people basically, you get made fun of, her get made fun of. And as a kid, right, as a little kid, say first grade, I have kids in first grade, pre-K. Some of them don't know, right? They're young, they say things, yada, yada, they're growing up. But then when you get to middle school, right, I'm sure middle school age is high school, people now, they know better, right? And they're still saying outlandish remarks or whatever. So tell us, like, they make fun of your sister and you're there to protect her. And that built a lot of emotion in you, right? That's something that we talked about before we came on the show. That brought a lot of emotion in you.
Oh, for sure. I had a lot of anger problems because of that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, man. It got to the point where just even if they even brought her up, like, I'm wanting to swing.
Really? And it's like, I mean, obviously I can imagine they say any random things and you're just like, you're her protector. You're her, especially in school, right? Like, I have kids in school. They get in fights in school. And my kids are not handicapped, but I still have this emotion. So I can just imagine where your emotion goes, because my emotion's like, don't mess with my kid, right? Like, don't F with my kid. Like, that's my kid. He's not perfect. He makes mistakes, but don't F with my kid, right? So I can imagine you're going through this emotion. So that kind of brought some anger on, little things back in the day. So you said you went to you signed up for boxing, you got going. Tell us about your boxing experience. I got some clips. I got some cool pictures of you, man. Some awesome, interesting things we're going to pull up here in a second. But tell us about boxing and like what you went through to get to where you are now.
So I started training when I was about 18 years old. I trained for like 2 months, and then I had my first amateur fight. I won my first 3 in a row, and then I kind of had a bit of a layoff. And then after that, I kind of just got after it. I've had 16 amateur fights now. I've won the Alberta Provincials, 2-time Golden Gloves champion. And then I just had my pro debut. When was it? Back in December in Mexico. Me and my coaches went down to Mexico. I fought in Cabo.
And this is the fight that Is this the fight here, the win, right? Like you
Then
got
and
your
then and then that was just last weekend, my bare knuckle debut with
this just
BKFC.
happened.
Yeah, last weekend.
And we got the clip. We're going to show it. Thanks for sending it to us. We got the clip of you fighting and you're victorious. And you get in the ring. You know what? Let's just get right to the punch. I mean, why not just show the shit? So you're out here. Tell us your feelings. I love talking to bare knuckle fighters, man. I got to tell you, UFC bare knuckle fighters. I love it. Tell us your emotions in here right now. What are you going through? What does it feel like in this stage right now?
Oh man, it was crazy. I was so into the fight at this point, but we fought in my home city. I sold close to 150 tickets, so I had a crazy crowd there.
Just you.
Like just me alone, man. I sold more tickets than anyone on the card.
Wow.
So like it was loud for me when I was there, and after I threw him down there, it went nuts. But it was a bit controversial, man, that throw there. So I hit him with that shot behind the ear, and he fell forward, and then I hit him with two more behind the ear, and he like collapsed into me. So I just turned him off me. It was either that or I'm going down with him. And he tried to say that he rolled his ankle, and he was trying to pretend he couldn't stand. So they were like, I listened back on the live stream. I didn't know what was going on when I was in the ring. I was just kind of standing around. But I guess they were saying the ref said he was going to disqualify me for an illegal throw because he thought that I hurt him with the throw. But then the ref went back and looked at the footage, and he said there was no ankle roll. It was when I hit him with that shot behind the ear, his knee buckled. So they think that's where I think, honestly, that he's just BS, and he got hit with a clean shot and he wanted out. And that was his way out.
Look, I got to tell you, I grew up in a tough household. I grew up with tough uncles and tough cousins, and we had to fight. I mean, they were like, you got to fight. You got to grow up. Like, you can't walk around it. So, but bare knuckle, I've been saying this on so many different occasions. Bare knuckle is so different. It's one of those most dynamic sports where it's mano and mano, right? Like, it's you and them. And I've been saying this. I had HD on the show. I had Marcus on the show. And now I got you on the show. I got more guys coming on the show. And it's like, it's interesting. And why I'm showing love to fighters is because they have a different lifestyle. Like, this bare knuckle fighting is not your typical lifestyle. This isn't, regular with gloves. And I love boxing. I think it's great. Love UFC. Bare knuckle, it just strikes a little different, right? Like, it just strikes a little different. And you can run us through some of that. But tell us your emotions. You come out through the tunnel. You come in through the locker room. You get into the ring. What does it feel like before they announce you, Drew, Wild Boy, Stuve? Like, tell us what it feels like. Are you fighting for your family? Are you fighting for your friends? Are you fighting for what's the most important in your heart that you're fighting for?
I'm fighting for myself, man. Like, I do this shit because I love it. It's just so, you can't even explain that feeling before you walk out and everybody's screaming for you. And you're literally like, it's not like any other sport where I'm just going to play a game. Like, I'm going in there potentially to get hurt, putting my life on the line for these people's entertainment. And it's something about that, man. It's just, I can't even express the feeling that gives you when you're about to walk out. You're walking down the tunnel like, I'm about to go to war. It's crazy.
Is that not? Listen, I got to tell you, the feeling, and I can only compare, obviously, what I've done to understand a little bit more, but coming through the tunnel of football, and I said this, I have 10 other guys on the field with me. We're coming through the tunnel. Basketball, you got 4 other guys on the court with you. I said that before, too. A lot of other sports, right? The most I can really compare it to is like when I was like track and field, like wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Track, you're racing, it's just you, like, you're gonna win or not, unless you have a 4x4 and you're passing the baton, right? But in wrestling, it's you and them. But in wrestling, they're not elbowing you in the face. They're not punching you in the face. They're not trying to knock your head off. They're trying to get points in wrestling. Not knocking wrestling. It's a great sport, right? But it's like bare knuckle is just so different. And when I'm watching your walk us through your training. Tell us about your trainer. What's that like leading up to a fight? What's the relationship like with your trainer?
But it's funny that you say that. I just looked up at my phone and my coach just replied to my story of me punching the bag this morning before we got on the call. And he's giving me tips. He's like, you need to sit down on your punches more.
Yeah, right.
Like, literally just looked at my phone. He just said that. But yeah, I got a really good relationship with both my coaches. Ryan, the real deal Ford, he's my main coach. He's a pretty big deal where I'm from. Like, he's pretty famous in the city that I'm in. And he's pretty well known in Canada. He's fought for Bellator. He's won MMA titles. He has a couple boxing world titles. So he's got over 60 professional fights. And like I've known him for quite a while, but he just kind of really took me under his wing in about the last year. So I've been training with him like nonstop. And the nice thing about him, man, is he's a crazy good fighter. So he's probably one of the few coaches who he gets in there with me and beats my ass.
Really?
Oh yeah. So we like this last camp. So my gym went through a flood, and so we've been closed for like right at the beginning of my fight camp before my bare knuckle fight. We had no boxing gym. So my coach he knows some guys that own an indoor training facility for soccer, just with turf grass. So they're letting him use it. So me and him have just been going there. We've been sparring there and just hitting pads and stuff in a just big open turf grass field. So it's been.
I got a question for you, and I don't know how you can answer this, but how does someone train for bare knuckle fighting? Like legit, when you train for UFC and boxing, you get hit. Don't get me wrong. I see their training, and it's tough. You're getting hit. You got the gloves on. Sometimes you wear a little, head guard on. But how do you train for bare knuckle? How do you train to get punched in the face? Like literally, you're gonna get punched in the face. No matter how people are great, they still get punched in the face. You're gonna have to eat that. You're gonna have black eyes. You're gonna have gashes in your face. You're gonna get stitched up. This stuff's gonna happen. How does someone train for that? It's a major mental thing. I know it's physical, but mentality. You just like, it's a war. Doesn't matter at this point. It's a war.
In reality, we did mostly my same boxing training. You can't really train for it. Like I changed up a few things. Like you're allowed to clinch a lot more in bare knuckle, right? So we worked on the clinch and stuff. And like when I'm hitting the bag and hitting pads, I just wore these gloves. They're just called bag gloves. They have no padding, and they're literally just they look like leather oven mitts. So just kind of get my knuckles used to not being padded. But like, we can't spar bare knuckle, or we're gonna get cut up and gonna get hurt. So
how can you even do that? You can't go in the ring and say, let's spar. We're gonna work on getting punched in the face like this whole practice. That's not gonna work, right? Like
no.
When you show up for the fight, you're trained, you're prepared, you're pumped, you got all the excitement, you got the energy, you're bringing the heat. But the problem is, you're not getting punched in the face all week,
exactly.
bare knuckle, and then you show up and it's like, oh shit, there's no gloves on right now. Like we're fighting right now for real. And when you get punched in the face, nothing's gonna prepare that for you, for the fight, unless it's like your makeup, your genetic makeup, your DNA. What has brought you over the years of life.
You got to be a dog, man. You either have it in you or you don't.
That's it.
Yeah, especially for bare knuckle.
See, you're going for blood or you're not, right? And then you're watching this, and I'm watching you out in the ring, and I'm like, dude, this is a guy who wants another shot, wants another chance, wants another fight in BKFC. And obviously the fight on Friday, we're going to be there front and center. We got media passes. Shout out, to Chris. Thanks for sending us the media will call. We're going to be there by the canvas, hopefully with all the cameras and making sure we're getting all the best footage of these guys. But tell us about your situation in Canada. They're bringing another fight back to you in Canada, but what do you have to say to bare knuckle in general? Like what's your message to them about you? Like you want to get on the show, you want to fight, right?
Man, I'm ready to go again. Like I'll be ready to fight in a couple weeks here. I told them I want to fight. They want me in another prospects card, I guess, because they just said, you don't got much pro experience. That was only my second pro fight. So I was like, all right, they have another prospects card coming up in Virginia on April 16th or 17th, I believe. So I told them, put me on that. Like, I want to get on that. I want to get back in there. I don't care. Fuck. Pick your best guy from your tryouts there, and I'll fight him. I don't care, man. I want to fight. I'm not here to fight once every 6 months. I'm here to fight back to back to back. Like, I'm ready to go.
You're like, and this is interesting for people watching you right now, and people that are going to be joining into the cast and watching, understanding bare knuckle fighting. What you're saying basically is you're waiting for the BKFC to reach out and say, we got to fight for you. Because you have your trainer. Is he pushing for you, right? He's calling saying, look.
Yeah, so my coach, he has his own promotion he started here, and it's becoming a big deal. So, BKFC doesn't give me a fight, I'm going to fight for my coach's promotion. They told me they want me to go get more experience. So if they don't want to give me a fight to get more experience, then I'm just going to go fight elsewhere and keep getting more experience.
And so what they're really waiting on right now, basically, obviously experience is important, right? We know that. Like something that you can improve a track record, right? Like, hey, I knocked this guy out. I knocked this guy out. Or at least I won this fight. Because it's not like UFC. You can't make someone tap out. It's like we're fighting. Basically, everything I've seen, I'll be honest with you, the fights that I watch is like someone gets knocked out like almost every time. The things that I've seen, like I'm sure they could go the distance, right? HD had his fight title shot, and I'm sure he's ready to battle back and get that again. We're also going to have him back on the show and the guy he fought back on the show, which would be awesome. But what you're saying basically is you're waiting for your next fight right now. And your goal is to say, look, set me up, whoever. Who sets your fight up? Run us through that real quick. When you want to get in a fight, do they just call you? Hey, let's go. Wild boy, you're up.
Yeah, they talk to my coach, Ryan. He's also my manager. So I'm just the fighter, man. I just do as I'm told. I show up when I'm told to show up, and Ryan takes care of all that stuff for me. Or my other coach, Parvez.
So they get out there, they make those calls. They make sure that you're getting lined up. And then you go up, you show up and you do this all. This is your daily, you're fighting, you're boxing, you're doing conditioning. You're doing what you got to do to make things work. You're doing what you got to do to look like this, to be victorious. But at the end of the day, the real truth is you're like, I hate to say this, but you're sitting around going, okay, I need to fight. I got to make money. Like that's the reality, right? Like, let's go.
Especially now, man, like this is my full-time job now. So, you know, my life has been so dedicated to this Bareknuckle fight the last like 9 weeks. Now that I don't have a fight booked, I'm just kind of sitting here like, fuck, I feel kind of useless. Like I need to get a fight so I can get back in that mindset and just get going hard again, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, you know, that's interesting. You brought that up. So before that fight comes, you don't know when you have a fight, you're going, okay, what the hell is going on? I'm sitting here. A lot of guys, if they're not making money, they start going, okay, I got to put food on the table, right? They start looking for jobs. Yeah. This is hard. This isn't, you know, for people that are getting into this, it's like stack some money up or do something, because if you don't have that fight to pay your dues, you can't even train full time because you got to be at work or doing XYZ until you can get that big paycheck where you can say, okay, this is going to hold me off for 4 to 6 months until I get that next fight. So run us through this. So while you're waiting, it keeps building up, right? You're just getting hungry. Like you need this payday. You need this check. When they call your name and say, hey, let's go. How much time do you typically have, would you say, on average in BKFC? Would you have a couple months? Would you have a week? How much time would you have to prepare for a fight, typically?
I'd say like 6 to 8 weeks. But like, I'm good now, man. Like I have that fight 2 weekends ago. I took so it was Saturday night. I took the Sunday off, and I was back in the gym Monday. And I've been in the gym almost every day since. I'm still in fight shape right now. Like I'm ready to rock.
So your message to BKFC is, and to Chris and the commentator, awesome guys down there, and people that are running the whole thing, president, everyone that's running BKFC is like, just get me a fight. Is that kind of like, get me a shot?
Fight.
That's what you're looking for right now.
Fight.
Is anybody specifically that you want to fight in your weight class, in your division? Is anybody that you're like, yo, I want to fight him? Is anybody that you can, and I'm not trying to cause any controversy. I'm just saying, is there someone that you know you've seen win and you're like, oh, I want to fight this guy? Regardless if you like him, love him or not?
I don't care, man. I'll fight whoever they offer me, I'll fight. See, that's the thing. Lots of these guys, they like to pick and choose their opponents and pick who's best for them and who's going to be an easier fight. I don't care, man. I'm training. I'm doing the work. I'll fight whoever. It doesn't matter.
As long as they're in your weight class or whatever.
Exactly.
What's your current weight right now?
I walk around like 175, 180. I fight at 165.
So basically, that's where you want to be at 165. So if they call you tomorrow, I'm going to be at the fight on Friday. I'm going to be hanging out with some of these guys. Say, man, give my guy a shot, man. Wild Boy's lined up, ready to go. He's ready to fight. You're hey, whatever the card is, you don't care when it is. Next week, you're on the plane.
Yeah, whatever, man. I'm ready to go.
So when you head to the fight, who are your biggest supporters? Tell me about that. Because Bareknuckle is not easy. I have family, I got kids, I got a wife, I got all this going on, and a lot of people, and I have cousins too. I'm gonna try to have them on the show. They're fighting, they're in MMA. You'd be someone that you can speak to them, growing in the sport, going pro, getting ready to start a lot of this kind of stuff. Maybe not Bareknuckle, but definitely heading toward UFC conversation. Who's watching? Who's your biggest supporter outside of your coach?
Probably my dad, honestly.
Really?
And you know what, man? Surprising. My mom, she maybe came to a couple of my amateur boxing fights, and she came out to my bare knuckle fight. I couldn't believe it, and she actually handled it super well. I mean, you know how moms don't like to watch fighting. Don't want to. She doesn't want to see her son covered in blood. But hey, she was there, and she told me after I wasn't that worried because I knew how hard you worked for this fight. So I wasn't worried about it. Obviously, she didn't like to see all the blood on my face, but I thought she'd be crying after. And man, she handled it well. So
You
that
know
was
what,
nice
man?
to see.
This is interesting, right? Like I have two awesome parents. My parents were divorced at a young age. I grew up living in my mom's household, but my dad was right down the street. Both great supporters. And it's funny you said that because I keep hearing the same thing. Like my cousin who's fighting right now, goes by Spooky Mittens. His name's Jared Rivera, fighting in MMA, trying to go pro. And here's the thing: his mom can't go to his fights either. She goes to the fight before. My mom told me this yesterday. She goes to the fight before to watch other people, and then when he fights, she stays at home and she's on the phone, like literally going, "Okay, what's going on? Like what's going on? Like what's happening?" She can't watch the fight. That's human nature, right? Like our moms are
Pretty
like
common.
they don't want to see that. Tell us
Yeah,
about
you know,
your dad.
I talked to Chris Lytle about that, and he said the same thing. He said, "Man, my mom, she couldn't even watch my fights after they were over, even knowing that I won." So it's just a mom thing.
I'm looking forward to having Chris on the show too. Chris
Yeah,
Lytle,
he's a great guy.
commentator guy that handles a lot of what's going on with BKFC, right? I'm looking forward to having him on. I appreciate him. I said that again. He gave us media passes for the fight. Tell us about your dad.
Yeah, so my dad, man, I played hockey my whole life growing up. Obviously being in Canada, my dad's a huge hockey fan. He always pushed me with hockey. Like I made it like I played like junior A, junior B hockey, which is okay. I actually played down in the States for a little bit, but my dad's dream was for me to always make it in hockey. And then now it's funny, like especially now I'm getting into BKFC and stuff. Like he always supported the amateur boxing, but he wasn't super into it. He just came to support, came to watch. But now like he's watching fights on his own. He's messaging me, like talking to me about other fighters and stuff. So it's just funny to kind of see it shift and see him getting into fighting now because of me.
Isn't that so cool? Like your parents, a lot of the times, God bless them, and people that have the opportunity to have their parents in their lives like that. When they're in your life, they're your supporters, whether you get in an argument with them or not. Like they're
100%.
your biggest supporters, right? And when you step into that ring, there's a feeling that you have of them there. There's a feeling, like you're fighting for you, but you're like, I got my backbone here, like my support is here watching me. And your dad, when you come out to fight, right? You pick your music, you come out. Tell me about that. Tell me that experience walking through the tunnel, coming through, walking down. What's that feel like seeing people that are there? What is that? Is it just, it's wartime? Tell me about that.
You know what is crazy? There's my last fight, like that's the biggest venue I've ever fought on. There's probably 3,000 people there, and you know what? I didn't notice anyone in the crowd when I was walking out. I was just so zen and so focused and so in the zone that I didn't notice anything. I just felt ready. I just felt it's time to go to war. I didn't notice anyone in the crowd, nothing. Like I didn't even look. And that's not usually like that. So, but hey, it worked out. It worked out good.
Yeah, watching this fight, it worked out pretty damn good. I mean,
yeah.
Again, no gloves. It's just like, man, you know what? Just sit down, right? Like sit down, like kind of thing. So, what I think is important is everyone has their story. You have your story, how you got into it. We talked about your sister and stuff. Do you think that, and this is your honest feedback, where do bare knuckle fighters typically come from? Because obviously, some people have a crazy story. Some people have money, they like fighting. Do most of them come from a fighting background where they grew up fighting and did they have anger? Like from people you talk to specifically, I'm not saying everybody, but do you think like people, because that guys that mentioned you, Marcus on the show yesterday, Marcus was talking about, He said, hey, I love this guy. He said he liked you, gave you a lot of hype. I said, I'm talking to him already. So do these guys typically come from just a fighting background where they do bare knuckle?
I just think lots of people, I'd say lots of guys who do bare knuckle, they just, like I said before, they have that dog in them, man. Like I know lots of pro fighters that I've talked to, and I asked them if they would do bare knuckle, and they're like, no fucking way. But
Really?
like, I just feel like you got to have that, not even so much where you come from. It's just, it's either in you or it's not. Just that dog, like you're maybe you're not all there up top. You got a couple screws loose, but to be
Yeah.
able to take the bare knuckles and handle those cuts and have your face covered in blood and you're still coming forward, like, yeah, you got to be a different kind of person for sure.
I asked that question to Marcus. I asked that question to HD, and I'll ask it to you. When you walk up, and you've been fighting now, you walk up to the trainer, and last fight seemed like you handled that pretty easily, but you walk up to the corner and you're cut open, and you're like, I asked this question before. You're cut open, you're bleeding. I'm not talking scrape. I'm talking you need stitches for sure. Like, everybody knows watching the fight, he needs stitches now. like most people in real life are going to the hospital right now. You're in there as a warrior. Like, I've been saying this is real shit. You're a warrior in there, and you're like, cut here, need about 8 stitches, guaranteed, maybe 10, maybe more. What does a trainer say to someone like you? Hey, you're good. Like,
well, you know what? That was the first time I've ever been cut in my life. So, and like the round didn't finish. I just remember getting hit. I didn't even know I got cut. And then it just felt like someone poured a bottle of water on my head. I just felt like it just dripping down. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm cut. And this is the first time, like, it didn't hurt that bad. Like, it just felt like a normal punch until like it felt like there was just water pouring down my face.
So
and then that's when I was like, I gotta fucking go, man, because I know sometimes they'll stop the fight if the cut's too bad, and then that's when I really turned it up.
So let me break this down. So people watching this are like, this guy's a fucking serious warrior. Like, this isn't like, hey, cut ref, hey, we're good, thanks for the time. This is like, no, we gotta clean this up because I gotta fight right now. Like, clean this shit up. I gotta keep going. So you're not really feeling, the adrenaline's pumping so much. Are you just not feeling it? It's just you're going, because after the fight, I'm sure you're like, okay, well, fucking headache. like, what's going on now? Are you just like, you're bleeding, clean us up, put something on it, Vaseline, whatever, let's get back out there and go? Like, is that kind of what your mindset is?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said, like I got cut. It was like right at the beginning. I think I got cut in the first punch or two. So as soon as I felt that, I was like, it wasn't like I wanted to stop and get it cleaned up. It was like, go forward, go harder. Like, I got to take this guy out now. I got a cut. So I can't potentially lose this fight because I got a cut now. So I got to finish this guy.
Look, here's what I got to say. I appreciate having you on. And before you get, I want you to ask you the question about it, but BKFC, this is your chance. I'm going to talk to Chris when I get there. I'm excited to meet with him and talk about BKFC. We're bringing the media, bringing the cameras there. We're going to have a good conversation and get to know more of BKFC, what it's like. One more time, your message loud and clear to BKFC and people. This is something I want people to know. Like, what you want to fight, but just tell them, just in a nutshell, here's my message to BKFC and fans watching. What are you going to do, and what do you want to do?
I want to. They should be giving me a contract after the performance I put on, after the amount of tickets I sold, after how crazy everyone went for me. I'm down to fight on the prospects again, but I want to fight for actual BKFC, and I want to fight in the real sized ring, like not in the little 16 by 16 ring. I'm too big for that ring.
You're ready for the big time.
You know what? I'm ready for the big time, man. Like I said, I sold 150 tickets for that show, and
just you.
I got cut, just me, and I got cut open. I got hurt, and I beat the adversity, and I still came forward. I still finished this guy. He can say what he wants about his ankle, but he was rocked and he was done. I made this guy quit. I need another opportunity to give me a guy who's not going to quit, and I'll still put him on his ass. I'll show you.
I like that. Your message is, look, give me a shot, man. Like, and I love the reason why this message is so important is because not only will they see it and people see it, it's like there's a lot of people out there that want to fight. There's a lot of people out there that want opportunity, and you're like, give me the opportunity. Like, I want to fight right now, and you're not going to let people down. Is that right? You're not letting nobody down. You're coming to knock people out.
I came too far to let anyone down now, man. I won't let no one down. I'm working too hard.
That's great. I'm definitely going to get a chance to speak with them. And last message, anybody that wants to get in the bare knuckle, obviously they grow up, A lot of guys wrestling do great in UFC. Takedowns. Wrestling has been a lot of state champs, right? National college champs. I want to have Bareknuckle on the show. I watch him fight in UFC. Great fighter, came out, wrestling.
Yeah, he's
I believe
great.
went to Penn State. I'm like, fighting him is like, dude, you better really learn how to wrestle. Like, I'm just saying, throwing hands is great, but the minute you start wrestling, that fight's over. Like, I'm telling people, like, it's so
Dominates
important. But
now.
in bare knuckle, it's a slugfest. You're not taking people down. It's man to man. We're not wrestling. It's fight time. What's your message to someone who wants to get into bare knuckle?
I'd still say, like, I know the MMA fighters, they do good, but I'd still say you need to have a good boxing foundation, man. Look at what happened to Palomino, MMA fighter, dominating everyone, 9-10-0. But then you get a world champion boxer come over, Austin Trout, and man, he lit him up. So boxing is the best foundation, man. And
Really?
just you tweak your game a little bit. You work on the clinch. But, like, that's why I want to fight on this full-size ring, man, because boxers typically have better footwork, and that's what Trout did, man. He used his footwork and his head movement, and he just stayed away because he had lots of room to move around in there. But it's boxing over everything here, I think.
All right, listen, man. Look, I appreciate having you on, and looking forward to talking to Chris. It's going to be great. Obviously I can't promise anything. I'll talk to him, say, like, this guy seems like he's ready to fight, right? Like, I'm gonna and I'll upload some stuff on social media. I look forward to seeing you fight again, and if anywhere near here, I'm gonna try to be at all of the bare knuckle events if I can. Now that we have the media passes, I'll try to be there front and center and get clips. And if you're in that event or fighting, I'll be getting some great images and clips and some highlights of you throwing some punches. I want all the best. Respect to you, Drew. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, man.
Look, I look forward to watching you. I look forward to watching you grow in the sport, and I think people
you'll see me again for sure. You'll hear my name. I know it.
100%. All right, buddy. Thanks for having you on. I'm uploading a bunch of stuff to social media. Announce your social media page for people to know. Look you up under Drew Stuve. What's the best way to find you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, anywhere?
Instagram, Stuvo Boxing, STUVO Boxing.
Stuvo Boxing. All right, buddy.
Stuvo
Boxing. Stuvo Boxing. Let me get that correct.
Stuvo Boxing.
Appreciate you, bud. I will see you soon. Look forward to covering your fights.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks for guys tuning in and watching Drew there. I'm looking forward to watching him fight. It's been great to cover some of these fighters, and more coming on. I know we have another one on Friday, but let's move on to the next topic we have for today, because Derrick Henry signs with the Ravens. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Like, Derrick Henry, he's getting a little bit older. Is he still good enough? He's running people over. Everybody knows Derrick Henry for being the guy that's trucking people in the NFL. And I'm like, look, this guy's trying to find a home, and I believe he signed for, I think it's like $14 or $15 million with the Ravens, and the Ravens were pretty damn close, right? You had a great team. Lamar Jackson, MVP, pretty damn close. I think they were missing a receiver, kind of like how the Chiefs were. Missing a receiver. Now they add Derrick Henry to the mix. Is this a good deal, a bad deal? All I'm saying is a 2-year deal. It's great for the Ravens. Bring a little bit more morale, right? More excitement. A guy who is great. We remember all those highlights of Derrick Henry stiff-arming people, trucking people, running people over. Does he still have it in the tank is the question. Does he still have the energy, the effort, the power in the tank, in his legs to keep doing what he's been doing? Because people are like, oh, in the NFL, you have 2 to 3 years, maybe 3 to 4 years as a running back on average to be successful, to be great without injuries. I'm just saying, Derrick Henry's still a beast. I look forward to seeing him with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, that little dynamic setup. It's going to be interesting. I know Odell Beckham Jr., had a lot going on there. And was he staying? Where they going? Were they going to re-sign him? A lot of conversation. But Derrick Henry to the mix with the Ravens, I think, is a good pickup, especially for just a 2-year deal. Next topic, how the Steelers fans feel about Russell Wilson. Listen, I want to bring this up. This is interesting, right? Russell Wilson, obviously, with the Steelers now. But more importantly, how do the fans feel? How does the organization feel? What do they think about him coming in? It's like a 1-year deal, right? Like, you're just dating him for a little bit, right? It's like what they did with Aaron Rodgers. Like, the Jets are just dating him to see what happens. And here's the thing. They're excited about Russell Wilson. But are they excited for the wrong reasons, right? Are they excited because it's only $1.2 million? Or are they excited because, wow, we got Russell Wilson? Because I'm not seeing anybody step up to the plate and be like, yeah, I'm so excited. Got Russell Wilson. Got this guy. We're going to win a Super Bowl. Everything you hear is like, we got Russell Wilson for cheap. Like the conversation is, we got Russell Wilson on a veteran minimum. What a great deal. Cheap. We got a guy for a 1-year deal can come in and ball out for us for a super discounted rate. And all I'm saying is, if you're looking at it like that, and the world's looking at it like that, they must not be looking at Russell Wilson like the beast that he can be, right? And that's the thing. Like, people really are not that interested in Russell Wilson at times, as you hear. But I'm just saying, the fans, if you're there and you're just going, we got him for a quick little deal, a cheap deal, it's probably not the best bet, right? It's probably not the best thing you can do. But the Steelers had to get somebody. Kenny Pickett being injured, young, probably wasn't getting it done. They had to grab somebody. We thought Justin Fields has an opportunity. That didn't work out. They got Russell Wilson. I'm just saying, I hope the fans aren't just looking at it saying, he's a super deal, let's bring him in, because that just feels awkward and shitty, I'm sure, for Russell Wilson. Now, Saquon Barkley still being targeted, right? And while we brought this back up, we had a conversation yesterday and said, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, that's great. You know, he's playing with the Eagles, that's wonderful, right down the street. It's not this man's fault he went to the Eagles, right? Like, people literally, even Tiki Barber guys are getting on here hating on him, saying, oh, you know, he went to the Eagles. He's a sellout. He was with the Giants. He's not a real Giant. Why would he go to the Eagles? I hate to break it to you, or anybody that's watching this doesn't understand. You're in the NFL. You're getting paid to play football, right? So basically, like, every single one of these teams, and Joy Taylor said it best too, it's like every little company that's interested in you and they're going to pay you, it's time to go. If the Giants aren't going to pay you and you're like, okay, I got to play, where am I going to go? Well, the Eagles want to pay me. I'm a free agent. They offer me money. I'm going. It's part of the deal, right? 3 years, $37 million. I think that's exactly what it is. It's like, look, take the money and go play. It's not like he was calling, I got to play for the Eagles. But here's what's interesting. Saquon Barkley is from Pennsylvania, from Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, right? What, 45 minutes to an hour from Eagles Stadium? So this is a loyal guy. Obviously, he was loyal to the Giants, wanted to be there, kept saying, look, you brought me in. Thank you. I want my opportunity. I'm excited to be here. And now, Howard, pulled the picture up. I believe we have another photo behind here. Fly, Barkley, fly. Right? This is what you're seeing now. Fly, Barkley, fly. Right? So Eagles, obviously, Eagles fans are pumped. Right? Looking at a guy they think is going to run through defenses. Had a couple, injuries. Yeah, it happens in the NFL. Players now are bouncing back from ACL construction on 2 knees. Meniscus tears, ankles, torn Achilles tendons. This stuff happens. But all I'm saying is, Saquon Barkley is with the Eagles right now, and they're picking up players. And I kept saying, Jalen Hurts has to step up. We know that. We want Jalen Hurts to step up. They're losing Jason Kelce at the center position. But now the Eagles are picking up players. And they're getting more players day by day, and they're going, whoa, the Eagles are stacking back up, and Saquon Barkley was a big addition, right? And it's like, don't hate on Saquon Barkley because he had to make a decision. Like, you're not going to pay me in New York. You don't want me to be here. Got my franchise tag. I'd be appreciating that too if I was saying, hey, thanks for paying me. I was here. I enjoyed it. They play in New Jersey, but hey, love New York. It's great. But now right down the street, an hour drive, literally, I'm from there, born and raised, lived there. I know the area very well. He's right down the street from the Eagle Stadium. This is not a big change for him. He's going to get a new place down there near Philly. His parents and family are probably closer to the Eagle Stadium, being born and raised in Pennsylvania. It's a great opportunity. It's an awesome idea for Saquon Barkley. The Eagles are going to be good. Obviously, a lot better than the New York Giants. The Giants are in turmoil. Daniel Jones was a terrible idea to pay him all that kind of money. Not saying he's not a good player. I'm just saying they overpaid him. They didn't give Saquon the money. And now Saquon Barkley is with the Eagles. And the new conversation is fly, Barkley, fly. Will the Eagles do great with them? I'm guessing they probably will. Let's move on to Nick Saban is against the new era of the NCAA, the NIL deals. He's not happy. He's not excited about what they're doing. You know what he said on press? And look, I got to tell you something. I hate to say this because I want athletes to get paid, but I kind of agree with where he's coming from, right? Like, I want all athletes to get paid. Don't get me wrong. I want to see them make the most money. I want to see college players show up, get paid, well-deserved, putting the bodies on the line. They get a free education, a lot of them, right? scholarship athletes, free education. That's where the value came from years ago. Still there, but more value now in money. And Nick Saban made it very clear. And he said, look, I don't like how it is right now, right? He's like, I don't like how players come in and what they want is just money. And it's not all of them, but a lot of them are jumping ship left and right. He said very clear, I want to develop players. The goal was to recruit those kids, bring them in, 18 years old, 19 years old, sometimes 17 years old. I went to college a little bit, early. I was 17 years old. My birthday was in the summer. So I was one of those late bloomers, one of those guys that, they're driving way before you to high school. And you're like, I need to get my permit. Like, come on. I know what it feels like. But what Nick Saban said very clearly is, I want to build these guys up. I want to build their nature, help them understand things they haven't seen. They're getting to college. They're washing their own clothes, right? They're doing their own things. He wants to build their morale and excitement and all that on the field, but they already have a lot of that makeup. They already have that genetic ability already, right? So he's like, I want to bring them in and help build them, educate them, get them on the way. And he's like, look, that's not what it's about anymore. He's saying these guys are showing up. No matter who you have on your team, they're jumping ship. Money is the driving factor. I agree with what Nick Saban is saying, but I also understand that these players, they deserve to be paid. And I get it. I really get it. Both sides are awkward, but I like what he's saying. It's becoming a festival of craziness. Like, you're here, you're jumping ship. I'm signed here. You were Florida State. Well, guess what? I just got an opportunity to go to Ohio State. They just gave me a little more money. I'm out of here. That, I got to tell you, if you're getting paid $1,000 a year and someone goes give you $100,000, you probably got to go for your family's purposes, for life purposes. But I'm just saying, it's becoming of who's paying me more. Where are we going? It's like the NFL, right? It's becoming pro sports. NCAA is turning into what it's like in pro sports. I'm just saying. Let's move on to the show quote of the day. And I thank all of you for joining in today. I'll give you the quote right now. Good morning to all of you that are joining me live. I appreciate all of you as you guys saw the fighter come on this morning and more interviews coming up. But here's our show quote of the day. There are only two options: make progress or make excuses, right? Like literally, there's only two options in life right now, right? Make progress, right? That's what I'm going with, because you can make progress or you can make excuses. And every day you get up, and it's important we do our show quote of the day every day to keep driving more stability, more people to get out there, especially for even financial success or financial stability, to get out and do what you love to do. It's really clear, and read this to yourself. There's only two options: make progress or make excuses. I'm choosing to make progress. I'm just saying, I appreciate all of you coming on here in the live this morning. I know you don't have all the time in the world to tune in and watch the whole show all the time, but I thank all of you for doing that. I appreciate everybody joining the Mason Mob and watching that expand our network. We have more interviews coming up. Also on Friday, we have a UFC fighter, and then we have NFL guys coming on next week. I look forward to seeing all of you every single day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy your Wednesday. Enjoy the hump day, because guess what? After today, you're getting toward the end of the week, and you can enjoy the weekend. So thanks for all of you coming on here with me and rock with me every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Until next time.